Hi everyone, and welcome to Shureview number 2. When I originally conceived this project, I had a list of 25 albums that I kind of know inside and out, that I could discuss without too much difficulty. And here we are at only the second review, and I'm already deviating from the original plan. I want to talk to you about Roger Waters, the pros and cons of hitchhiking. Roger Waters being a major force behind the band Pink Floyd. As if you didn't know that already. Anyway, the pros and cons of hitchhiking was released on the 30th of April, 1984. It was produced by Roger Waters and Michael Kamen, with artwork done by Gerald Scarfe. Scandalous. Scandalous indeed. So Roger Waters wrote the material for this album and The Wall and the final cut at all roughly the same time. And for this reason, we hear a lot of similarities within the three albums, both musically. Some of the melodies are lifted directly from one album to the next, as well as lyrically. Production-wise, we hear a lot of Roger Waters' signature echo, 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 and a number of other little things. I had listened to this album years ago, and I thought it was just okay. And then, for whatever reason, for the last week, I've listened to it almost every evening, and it's fun. It's an exercise in picking out all the little subtle similarities between the three albums. It's a unique experience. It doesn't get old. I'm not really interested in reviewing each track one by one, because it seems that there's only maybe 2 or 3 melodies going on throughout the entire album. It's a 45-minute concept album. That's 2 concept albums in a row. That's interesting. So what we've got here, in my opinion, and this is all my opinion, as I've stated before, this is Roger Waters attempting to show the listener that as long as he has talented musicians, his ideas and concepts will get across to the audience no matter what. Instead of David Gilmour, we've got Eric Clapton. Instead of Nick Mason, we've got, Andy Newmark. Instead of Rick Wright, we've got Michael Kamen. We've got backup singers. We've got sound effects. This is a Pink Floyd album without the rhythm section of Pink Floyd. It's almost undeniable that if Pink Floyd, the band, would have recorded this album, it would have sounded more grandiose, whereas with this lineup, it sounds more reserved. It almost sounds like a series of professionally recorded demos, which probably isn't too far from the truth. I really love this album. I'm a huge fan of the Roger Waters Pink Floyd era. I think this album, based on all accounts that I've seen, aside from maybe a few YouTube comment posts, is vastly underappreciated. I think Roger Waters' ability to write lyrics that were more personal is a huge testament to his ability and his talent. You could argue that The Wall is very personal, which it is, but the difference being The Wall features different characters in the narrative. It features the teachers, the women in his life. It features Pink, which I suppose in the end really is Roger Waters. But those were all concepts that could be taken on a grander scale. You know, from the time of Dark Side of the Moon and Wish You Were Here, and even Animals, Roger Waters wrote not just in the first person, but I think that's really important. He wrote in the first person, but he also wrote for other characters. And so it was personal, but it was also as if he was writing from the everyman point of view, which I don't think that's the case with this one. I think he should be applauded for being able to write a much more simple and personal story. It's the story of a man going through a midlife crisis. He's on a road trip with his wife, and they pick up some hitchhikers, and he just basically has it's a tale of his fantasy, is what it is. It's deeply reflective, or reflectful. Maybe it's thoughtful. It's like a confession. There are so many layers to this album. I really love it. Anyway, I think Roger Waters was going to do a solo album no matter what, under the circumstances, so he hired some musicians that represented the music well. I feel he wanted the Pink Floyd sound without having to deal with the burden of the Pink Floyd band. It's obvious in the music. Check out The Wall, The Final Cut, and The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking. Listen to them as one singular experience. And I think you might gain a new appreciation for it. Can we call The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking a cult favorite at this point? Can we do it? Can we please? Anyway, I'm Logan. This is Shureviews. Thank you for watching. I hope you will continue to watch in the future. And if you'd like to, thumbs up and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks.